The overall ninth installment of this Rocky franchise, Creed 3, is an enjoyable and entertaining movie. And certainly, if you're a fan of this franchise here, then check this movie out because it is well worth the time. I have to say, this movie was executed really well. So, directed by Michael B. Jordan, who was making his directorial debut. So, the story of this one is that Adonis Creed, he is happily retired from boxing. He's built this legacy for himself. But then trouble arises when an old friend from his past shows up who wants the championship. And so Adonis Creed must face demons from his past in order to finally put it behind him. And from there, it's a movie that I had really enjoyed. The story was compelling, and I also thought that Michael B. Jordan being the director for this film, it was actually pretty cool as well. And the thing I really like about all these movies in this franchise, it's about human stories about a boxer being injured, coming back from defeat and winning the championship. It's something you could really root for. And Adonis Creed himself, he has grown so much since the first Creed movie. I must admit, this film right here, it does a whole lot to keep you engaged with not just the story, but everything that happens within this one. The acting in this one, it was great. Seriously, the chemistry between Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors, it pretty much was a highlight of this film. And speaking of Jonathan Majors, once again, the villain aspect that he portrays is just downright awesome. This man has had quite a 2023, I must say. And his character, Damien, you want to be on his side because he does make some interesting points in this movie. Like, this was probably the first movie of this franchise where I was really like rooting for the antagonist because, you know, he made sense with things he was saying in this movie. And speaking overall, I think when it comes down to it, Damien, he's going to be top 3 Rocky villain of all time, especially considering this franchise has been around for decades. And I've been a big fan of this one. Except for Rocky 5, not a big fan of that film. But overall, speaking of which, I think that since Sylvester Stallone is not in this movie, it actually works better for this film. And what I mean by that is that Adonis Creed, it always felt like he was in the shadow of Rocky Balboa in Creed 1 and 2. And I love the first Creed, I enjoyed the second one. And this, it feels like his own story where Creed can finally, have his, story here and basically just do his thing. And one thing I want to say is that the boxing fights in this film, that was done real well. Unlike most boxing films where it's grounded in realism, it's gritty, this one, it was done with slow motion and it was done in other ways as well. Like for example, I won't give out any spoilers, the fight between Adonis and Damien, I like how they edited that. It was definitely something that was different and made it unique. Tessa Thompson, she also did a good job in this film. And I'm glad her character wasn't sidelined because I was a little bit concerned that was going to happen. Thankfully, it didn't. Nonetheless, when it comes down to it, this is a very solid and entertaining movie. This is certainly one of the better boxing films. And while I wouldn't put this over the first Creed film, this is still very enjoyable to say the least. I'm giving this film an 8 out of 10. It is a powerful drama about family, legacy, redemption, and facing one's past. And certainly the character development for Damien, it was real interesting. Now, personally, in my opinion, they didn't focus on his character enough. But overall, that's really the only negative thing I have to say about this film. And I will say, it was finally good to see Adonis Creed finally fight someone from his past than from Rocky's old past because it feels more organic that way and it feels like it's not directly tied into the Rocky films themselves. And another thing I wanted to add is that Creed 4 is in the process of being made, so I'm wondering if they're going to make 3 more films, or is it going to be one more Creed film, but nonetheless, if they keep giving us great stories, then I'm all for it. And that is my review of Creed 3. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section, and let me know what you think about this movie if you have seen it. Alright, this is Slim Guy 172 saying, peace out.